Alright, so this one, in your mind, you already know how to write that square. Am I right? Alright, so you know you're dealing with the power rule. So the 2 comes in front. You now have cos to the power of 1 of 3x. Then times by the derivative of what's inside. If I to do it without being smart, I'll say, okay, in bracket I put a minus, then we have a 3, then everything changes to sine of 3x, and now you can make it look good. The minus 3 and a 2, it's minus 6. You now have, let me write the sign like I told you. I love the sign first. Sine 3x multiplied by the cos of 3x. Remember here, we just did what was that? That compound rule. You remember? There's a compound rule here. If I take that 6 minus 6, I break it into 2, and I say times by minus 3. What's compound is that one. Can you see that? The double angle for sine. You remember? Yeah, so that means it's going to be minus 3 sine double the angle. So it's going to be sine of 6x. So we can keep it like that. We are winning. You and I are winning. Now we go to this one. We don't know cot as yet, remember? So that means I'm going to have to write it. Okay, let me write it there where it's at. Cot is basically cos, because it starts with CO. Start with C, co and cos. Cos over the sine x. So that's what I've got. So now I can recognize I'm dealing with the quotient rule. dy all over the dx. So differentiate the numerator first. Then it's going to be minus, it changes into sine of x, but I must multiply by the denominator, which is sine of x. I must minus the derivative of the denominator, which is going to be cos of x, times by the numerator, which is cos of x, all over. I'm just kind of moving a little bit faster, but I'm going to slow down. The sine squared all over sine squared of x. Well, at the top, what you got? You got sine squared minus cos squared. If you pull out the minus, you're going to have a 1 there. It's a sine squared of x plus the cos squared of x. Do you recognize it already now? All over this sine squared of x. So meaning your answer would be negative 1 all over sine squared of x. If you do the other guys, that means your answer is basically negative cosec of x. It's basically that. But you can write it in full, but they write it as CSC. So you can write it as cosec of x. It's the same thing. But I'll keep it here with the sine, because we have learned only the rules for sine up to